Breaking news, breaking news. Hello, everyone. JLR investigates with the breaking news, continuous coverage of the California wildfires. This is far from over, folks. Red flag warning. Next couple days, we are watching. The whole world is watching what is going on in California. Continuous coverage. Now we have 24 deaths. The death toll has went up with numerous people still missing. Over 40,000 acres burned from these multiple wildfires. Over 12,000 structures destroyed. We got the National Guard out patrolling the area. We got looters, burglars, arsonists, bunch of people that got arrested. We're going to show some mug shots. We're going to listen to a press conference that's coming up at the top of the hour, the next hour, as we get some new information. This is definitely something to watch here on numerous fronts. According to Flight Radar 24, doesn't seem like there's serious fire activity going on. It looks pretty quiet, but that doesn't mean anything, folks. There's still things smoldering. There's still embers out there. It's hot spots, and any one of these hot spots could flare up instantly and expand during the next couple of days, especially when the winds are supposed to kick up, they say, to 80 miles an hour gusts. Horrible situation. You got all types of mud being thrown all over the place, politicians being blamed, a lot of would-ofs, could-ofs. How did this happen? Why did this happen? There is a petition circulating. People want to recall Mayor Karen Bass, who we've spoken about extensively on JLR Investigates. According to the latest reports, the Palisades fire is 14% contained. Evacuation orders are in place. Still, 105,000 people are affected right now from this evacuation order area. Evacuation emergencies and warnings are going out. They're very worried about the canyons for the next couple of days. Starlink vehicles coming in, rolling into town. Elon Musk has some Starlink cyber trucks that are going to provide Starlink to areas where they cannot get reception. Reception is very bad in those areas. A lot of wires are down. So what in the world is going on here, folks? Come on in. Continuous coverage. We've been covering this. I like this perspective here, the drone perspective, because it just shows you the level of devastation. Though the FBI is also investigating that drone incursion that happened where a drone hit one of those Canadian super scoopers got hit, and now the FBI has launched an investigation. Magnolia, come up into the chat. Good morning. Magnolia will be in here shortly too. She's doing a phenomenal job covering this particular case here. This is all eyes on Southern California. Not only just in this area, but San Diego too. And just north, like literally where Santa Ana is, the whole area. We could see fires flare up in locations that we haven't even thought possible in the next couple of days. This is a serious situation, folks. A dire situation. What I want to do though is I want to start out with the mugshots. Mugshots of individuals that have been arrested, particularly a group of 4 individuals like this guy right here. You see that guy right there? I want to give you some information about this guy because Santa Monica police are out there in full force, and also the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office. And kudos to the kudos to all the law enforcement out there that are out there, trying their best to keep the community safe, stopping the criminals that are using this tragedy as an opportunity to prey on vulnerable victims that evacuate. People are out there doing bad things, folks. They're taking advantage of the situation. And, burglars, on top of scammers, gypsies, fake contractors, fake firefighters. Hello, Magnolia.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. So, people are getting arrested, Magnolia. Not surprising, right?
Yeah, this guy, he's one of 4, right, that got arrested together.
Well, there's 4 mugshots. Bill Malusian from Fox News, who is does phenomenal work on the border, covering the border for the last few years. But I guess he's based in Los Angeles, so he's been covering a lot in the Los Angeles area. He's been going out there surveying things and sharing his perspective since he's from there. And he put out a tweet yesterday saying the Santa Monica Police Department arrested 10 burglary suspects. 10 burglary suspects that weren't supposed to be in this evacuation zone, because they got evacuation zones. And none of them that got arrested out of the 10 are from Santa Monica. Imagine that. Outsiders. Same thing Florida was dealing with the hurricane damage, when all these migrants and criminals would come into town and start looting homes and taking things from people's homes and all that. But there was a group of them. Now, he specifically said 10 people got arrested, and he shared the mugshots of 4 individuals. Like this guy right here. He describes each suspect. So the guy you see on the right, his name is Joshua KALIEL Love. His last name is Love. He was spotted in a Santa Monica apartment breezeway, and then he ran. After a brief foot chase, they say the Santa Monica Police Department caught him, and he was found in possession of a dagger, window-breaking tools, a mask, gloves, and narcotics. He was also on probation.
Wow.
He's charged with attempted burglary. That is crazy. I mean, no normal person would be sitting there with window-breaking tools on them.
Right.
He's not a plumber. He's not an electrician. The dude is on probation, and he's lurking around Santa Monica apartment areas that are pretty close to the Palisades fire. Santa Monica's I've learned a little bit about Santa Monica. It's pretty big, right? It's pretty big, but it's like literally the gateway on the Pacific coast, just west of Los Angeles. And it's the next big community south of the Pacific Palisades. So there is areas there that are actually evacuated because of the fear that the fire from Mandeville Canyon and Pacific Palisades would reach down to Santa Monica. And it actually did at one point. It got pretty close. Mm-hmm. But then you got opportunists here, like this guy, Love. He's only 29 years old. This guy aged considerably. He looks like he's in his 40s.
Yeah, he looks much older than 29.
He looks much older than 29, but that's who this guy is. That's who this guy is. Now go back to the other guy. The original guy we got on our thumbnail. One thing I vowed to do on this channel is we're gonna out the criminals. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, lawyers out there, defense lawyers, the presumption of innocent people. I'm sorry, but not sorry. We're going to put these mugshots of these criminals out there. We're going to shame them. We're going to make them famous. They want to sit around and take advantage of people and do bad acts during an emergency. They get no sympathy. They should get the book 100% thrown at them. Do you agree or disagree with that assessment, Magnolia?
Oh, yeah. Well, they better. I mean, that's what they promised, right? At the press conferences, they said they would prosecute these people to the full extent. So that's what we're expecting.
That's what we're expecting. So this guy here His name is, he's 27 years old. So he's 27. His name is Gabriel Isaiah Stokes. Mr. Stokes. And he was, now check this out. Check this out. This is crazy. This is, and they need to fix the probation system, by the way, in California, the parole system. This guy here, he was pulled over by Santa Monica Police Department after an auto plate reader got a hit on the car he was driving, and it indicated that the car was stolen out of Hawthorne, California. I don't even know where that is. Hawthorne, California. So when he gets pulled over, he has a stolen California ID. He has fraudulent IDs on him. He has burglary tools on him, a ski mask, a black beanie, and large bags. He has prior arrests for burglary, robbery, and grand theft. What in the world's going on here, Magnolia?
It's like burglary is his job.
Burglary is his job.
He's just going to work. He has his supplies, his tools. He's ready to go to work in a stolen car. It's crazy.
I just looked on the map where Hawthorne is. It's north of Torrance, California, right? So he's driving around in a stolen vehicle, but it's strange though. Listen, they said they pulled him over because of a license plate reader indicated. So they got license plate readers out there, and they're probably reading people's vehicles as they're passing through that area. Mm-hmm. And anyone that's driving around in a stolen vehicle might get hit, but he's driving around in a stolen vehicle about 20 miles south of Santa Monica. He has no ties to Santa Monica, and he's out there in a hoodie, black hoodie. He probably puts the hoodie over him, right? Covers his face so he can't be seen on camera, and then he's out there busting in and breaking into things. Mm-hmm. I don't know what type of. I mean, they're all being. He's charged with grand theft, but they're all being charged more or less with attempted burglary. Now, I don't know the penalties on attempted burglary. Lawyers might be able to get somebody out because they're going to have to prove that they were attempting to burglarize something just because they have all the tools on them and they didn't really get caught in the act. I don't know if that's a provable act. We got two other bozos we want to put up. Maybe we could put both their photos up at the same time because these two worked in a team. These two individuals, and it's quite possibly we're going to go into the migrants and illegal immigration aspect, whatever like that. But there's two more of these guys, another group, this guy, and there's another one too. I don't know if you could get the second guy up on the same time there, but either or, you see these two individuals. These two, this guy here, I guess his name is, he's the white shirt one, DOMINIC PACHECOMANGA. DOMINIC PACHECOMANGA. That's his last name, PACHECOMANGA. 18 years old. Now he's with the other guy. Put the other guy back up. The other guy right there, black shirt, Miguel DORANTES, 22. So you got Miguel and DOMINIC. We're both in a van together. They're both in a van together, and they were pulled over by the Santa Monica Police Department after they ran a stop sign. Santa Monica Police Department says they were unable to provide ID. Imagine that. They probably don't even have IDs. And they had the Watch Duty app opened on their phone, which they claim they were using to track fire acreage. What? After the search of the van, probable cause right there, search the van, boom, 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 get out of the van, handcuffs, search the van. Santa Monica Police Department found burglary tools, ski masks, gloves, and bags. Both arrested for attempted burglary. So, migrants, illegals, don't even have IDs on them, in a van, again, burglary tools, window breaking tools, bags, beanies, masks, everything like that. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, Magnolia. So Malusian says, overall, Santa Monica Police Department says they've arrested 39 people in evacuation zones since the start of the fire, none of who live in Santa Monica. Those not charged with burglary or attempted burglary were picked up either for curfew violations. Oh, and they're enforcing them, by the way. Curfew violations, drug possession, warrants, probation violations. Most of the attempted burglary charges were under Penal Code 459. I got to look up Penal Code 459. SMPD says there were 2 successful burglaries where suspects got away. And those cases are on active investigation. Wow.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable that every time I hear one of these people, I just can't even, it's really hard for me to comprehend people doing stuff like this. Like, I can't, how does that even come into your mind in the first place? Like, oh, look, California is burning, Los Angeles is burning. This is a great time. This would be a great day to load up my van with burglary tools and go break into houses in evacuation zones. Like, who thinks that way?
So here's the thing. I'm looking at the 459 of the statute code that they're charged with, 459.5 or 459. And it doesn't seem like it carries a lot of time here. 6 months for attempted burglary because you didn't actually do the act. That's crazy. These literally people, California. Oh yeah, they're tough on crime, all right.
No, these people will probably all be released.
Well, they vowed the Los Angeles County Sheriff in these press conferences said that he would be making sure these people get booked instead of cited. Because normally these type of crimes you just get cited for in a court date, which nobody ever shows anyway.
Yeah, I mean, when they say at the press conference they're going to prosecute to the full extent and they're being all tough and all this kind of stuff, what does that even mean? Because you just said that might only mean 6 months. So to me, that's not really anything to brag about. And it's just the fact that, I'm sure these people, each and every one of them, like you said, they have probation violations, they have charges, they have a rap sheet. But here they are running wild in Los Angeles, wreaking havoc during a disaster. So it doesn't seem like they really do too much with these type of people. Like they ride around town like it's their job to do this, to do these burglaries. Like it's a normal day. So weird.
It is.
So these are the 2. How old did he say these were? The ones
18 and 22.
22 and 18. Yeah.
Punk kids.
Yep.
Punks. Absolutely punks. Hopefully they get the book thrown at them. We got the footage here. This is we keep using this as the backdrop, just showing you the extensive damage. Magnolia, throw the firefighter up there, the fake firefighter.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have
this
a
guy.
firefighter, a fake impersonator, a stolen, we'll call it stolen valor. This is crazy. This is crazy. So Malusian, also, he's doing a great work too. I enjoy looking at his feeds because he calls out the fake info out there, and he's there. He retweets. I guess this is a Fox News correspondent who actually took this photo. But the one thing I don't like about this particular photo here is they blocked out the guy's face. They blocked out the guy's face, but he's wearing a yellow firefighter jacket that says Butte, B-U-T-T. Is that Butt? Butte.
It says Butte,
Yes.
as in Butte County.
Yes. He's wearing a fake, and this is exactly what the the authorities were talking about fake firefighters.
But we know Butte County. Isn't Butte County the one that had the park fire?
I think so. Chico.
With the DA Ramsey, the guy that we talked to out there.
I think so,
that
Magnolia.
means this guy stole this jacket. I'm assuming he stole this fireman's jacket from Butte County.
Photos of at least one person arrested for impersonating a firefighter in the Palisades evacuation zone area. I'm told the impersonator was with another individual who was also arrested. This is crazy, folks. Now you got people here impersonating this. So there's 100% truth to that when we heard it from authorities about the fake firefighters. This person here, now, don't we have a news report on this one?
Let's see.
I believe we have a news report on this one here.
Yeah, let me look.
Because this dude here should get the book thrown at him for sure. Literally has a fake fireman outfit. Look at this. The fire has burned 40,000 acres thus far. That's what they're saying. But there's a red, what is it called? A red flag warning today.
Yeah.
Red flag warning today. They say the Palisades. Here's what I find wild, Magnolia. They say the Palisades fire is now 14% contained. So they're saying what? Most of it's not contained, yet I don't really see it out there brewing right now. So I don't understand where they get that. How can you say something's 14% contained when you look in the sky, there's really nothing going on right now? I'm not saying, like, as far as visual, there's probably things we don't see, but where's the fire? Where's the fire? Here, I'll get that video for you, Magnolia, so we can share. I put it out there somewhere about the fake firefighter. Or we could just do the burglary arrest people. Going back to the burglary arrest to give an update on the burglary arrest people. 10 burglary suspects arrested, fake firefighters. Fake firefighters. Who else is out there lurking? There's somebody on Twitter that's actually is like kind of like just covers like border stuff and drives around, and you could arguably say he's a journalist. He got guns drawn on him last night for just driving around filming. I mean, they're out there. They're out there. I would not, even if you're a journalist. Even if you're a journalist, I wouldn't go out there. I wouldn't go out there at night.
Yeah, I mean, some people just do whatever they want. They don't really respect things like curfews or anything like that. So, yeah, I would probably heed the curfews from authorities right now. That is one thing it does seem like they're actually cracking down on, because we have heard several stories now about people not being allowed to go in certain areas, neighborhoods, even some residents who live there haven't been able to get in. So there's lots of stories. So they are actually cracking down on that.
What do we have on the what do we have on the burglars, Magnolia?
Let's see.
So this is just some breaking news out of Santa Monica. Our colleague Bill Malusian of Fox News just reporting that Santa Monica PD have arrested 10 burglary suspects in the Palisades fire evacuation zone since the fire began, and none of them live in Santa Monica. 6 had burglary tools with them. 1 pair had the Watch Duty app open on their phone to try to track the evacuation zones. The Santa Monica PD say that they were able to stop these attempted burglaries before they were carried out. We understand that one of them was seen and ran. They had a foot chase, and they caught him in possession of a dagger, a window-breaking tool, a mask, gloves, and narcotics. His name is Joshua KALIEL Love. He's 29 years old. We got a 22-year-old Miguel Angel DORANTES, an 18-year-old DOMINIC, in a van together, were pulled over by the PD. They ran a stop sign. They were unable to provide ID. They had the Watch Duty app open. This is how people apparently are doing this. They found more burglary tools with them. So this is Bill Malusian's tweet about this. Those are some of the booking photos for them. Overall, SMPD says that there were 39 people arrested in evacuation zones since the start of the fire. And again, none of them live in Santa Monica. Those not charged with attempted burglary were picked up for curfew violations, drug possession, warrants, probation violations. According to SMPD, there were 2 successful burglaries where suspects did get away. Those cases still under investigation. But it is worrying to hear that these people are clearly being strategic in trying to target these areas where people have evacuated, trying to steal their stuff. We're grateful that if indeed these suspects are guilty of what they're being charged with, that they were arrested.
Put them out there. Put them out there. Shame them.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Magnolia,
here's the clip of the fake firefighter.
More than 24 arrests in the areas of the Eaton and Palisades fire, including one man who was impersonating a firefighter. LA County Sheriff Robert Luna said he encountered the man sitting on a curb. He asked him if he was okay, only to discover that the man clad in fire gear was already handcuffed. Deputies had caught him burglarizing a home. Several people have been arrested for violating curfew, and 2 people are in custody after attempting to set other fires.
But how
Don't
disgusting
like hearing
that is on every single level, and how frustrating that must be for the firefighters specifically to see somebody doing that. Let's talk about the weather. That's the big story that we're really focused on tonight.
the weather. Yeah, the weather is a big story. Magnolia, so remember the blowtorch guy?
Yeah.
Put his photo back up because we have an update on the blowtorch guy. The one of the individuals that they thought was set off that remember the Kenneth fire?
This guy right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got an update on the blowtorch guy. So Bill Malusian, with the breaking news, he says, per ICE sources, the man seen in the viral video being subdued by residents and arrested by police with a blowtorch near the Kenneth fire in West Hills is an illegal alien from Mexico named Juan Manuel Sierra Leyva. He's in custody on a probation violation and has not been charged with arson. I'm told ICE will place a detainer on him, on the request on him, or put a detainer on him, but they do not expect it to be honored due to California's sanctuary state law. I'm told Sierra Leyva will have a court appearance today. Him. Again, he has not been charged with arson and is in custody only on the probation violation at the moment, as multiple agencies have been interviewing him.
Ooh.
So, I personally think he's the one that started the Kenneth fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird that this dude was riding around on a bike with a blowtorch and gave the excuse to authorities that he didn't have a conventional lighter to light one of his whatever he was smoking.
Right.
And illegal. Now, he's being interviewed. ATF. FBI, probably. State officials, whatnot. Could he be the actual one and actually they end up arresting him for arson?
Well, didn't they claim that there was not enough evidence to charge him with that?
Yeah, they did. And a lot of people are like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What? Like, this is
So
a
I think that they basically are saying that he would have had to be caught literally lighting something on fire in order to be charged with that. But the neighbors, the people, the residents who, they're not his neighbors, but the people who live in the neighborhood that he went into spotted him walking around with that bright yellow canister and took matters into their own hands. But if they hadn't have done that, he most certainly was going to light something on fire. Yeah. Goofy said he was trying to light shrubbery in front of a house. So, you know, and the citizens there captured the whole thing on video. They confronted him and recorded the whole thing. So, yeah, I don't believe his excuse that it was just so he could light his cigarette or whatever.
This would be an absolute nightmare for Los Angeles if this guy gets charged for setting a fire, an illegal alien. It would be absolutely suicide for Los Angeles City in reference to their sanctuary city laws, their state laws on not honoring ICE detainers and illegal setting one of the fires. This would be a nightmare. Where California, you know, they have their own space where they support illegal immigration. They are welcoming to illegal immigration. They flaunt that. They are challenging the incoming administration on in enforcing it. They want California to be a safe state. But imagine if an illegal set one of these fires.
Yeah.
I mean,
yep. And
I don't, at that point,
like
I don't.
Could be, I mean, I actually think that is the case in some of these fires.
I think it's the case here.
The subsequent fires that kept popping up all over the place. I think they started them on purpose to take advantage of the evacuation orders, you know, set a little fire here, a little fire there. Evacuation orders, everyone leaves the neighborhood and they go right in there and do what they're trying to do. So, and also I've heard some of the reporters when they've talked about this say that they get very creative with how they access the neighborhoods, because, you know, we were just talking about they have these roadblocks now, but they're sneaking in, they're getting around it somehow, and they're getting in there. But it seems like most of them, they are getting detained. And I think the main reason for that is just because everyone is evacuated. So if you see someone in a certain area, they're going to just stick out like a sore thumb, especially someone like this. I mean, look at his clothes. He's dirty. He's like,
that's one thing I've noticed on some of these live streamers, like some YouTubers and just people that are live streaming and driving around the neighborhoods and everything like that. A lot of them been saying that, like, everybody's looking for suspicious people. Like, every resident around there in the areas that weren't hit with fires are just looking at everyone suspect.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually saw something. I'm going to see if I can find this real quick. There was, the residents there are sort of becoming vigilantes in a way, trying to protect their property, their families and things like that. And they've actually had these signs, like signs that you would normally see in Florida.
Looters.
Like, we shoot looters. Yeah, you're seeing those signs now in California. So let me see if I can get this on the screen. Yeah,
we shoot.
Yeah, here's the picture. Looters will be shot, spotted, and this is in California. So, you know, the residents there are not having this, and they seem like they're They're trying to fight back, stand up for their neighborhoods, because a lot of times they're just being abandoned. There's really not a lot going on as far as it's not as if they're actively patrolling and things like that. They are doing roadblocks, but I don't think that they're actually in the neighborhoods patrolling right now for this. So people have taken matters into their own hands.
Yeah, there was another one. I want to show you in another article because there was another arson suspect named Ruben Montes, and this was another case. Let me get an article and then we can show this guy up here too. But there's no photo. One thing about it is, and particularly like this guy here, where's the mugshot?
Well, and also if you notice, I'm sure people noticed that the picture we showed of the fake firefighter, I'll show this again. I meant to point this out before. If you notice this picture that's going around of him, his face is blacked out. We didn't do that. We did not black out his face. This is how it was posted by the media. They're covering his face.
Yeah, why?
Well,
Out then. I mean, this guy's shameful. Just there's a I would say 100% chance that this guy's not a firefighter. So why not out him? He's sitting there in a firefighter outfit in a zone and he got arrested. Why are you blocking his face, Fox?
yeah.
It's Fox that took the photo. Fox News. Why are they blocking the face?
It's weird. I mean, is that a common thing in California where they block suspects' face?
Well, they didn't on this guy, but this was citizens that actually took the.
Well, the reason we have all the images of this suspect is because of the citizens who took that video.
I sent you a Daily Mail article. If you could throw that up, Magnolia, because they caught another arsonist. This time, a guy in Irwindale, 29-year-old. But we don't have a photo of him. But they're saying firefighters catch second arsonist in the act of starting new blazes. Well, the Daily Mail goes hard on this title of this article. It goes, firefighters catch second arsonist in the act of starting new blazes in LA days after cops arrest an illegal immigrant with a blowtorch. A man, here we go, right here. See the title?
Mm-hmm.
Daily Mail goes hard on some of these titles. So they're saying that 16 miles away from Altadena, which was affected big time from the Eaton fire, authorities arrest Sunday a 29-year-old man named Ruben Montes, who was caught red-handed. Firefighters were responding to a small brush fire in Irwindale when they witnessed him starting blazes. What in the world's going on here, Magnolia? And there was another viral video, and we'll have to get more information, but they caught another dude in Los Angeles by a dumpster. Setting the dumpster on fire. And, the guy's like, basically like, you're going to go to jail for this, dude. And the dude was just like mentally ill. There was something like he was a zombie. He was weird. He was acting irrational. He clearly looked like he was an illegal. So here, in this particular case, this is, what did they say? 16 miles away from Altadena. He was witnessed setting a fire.
Mm-hmm.
And firefighters quickly put it out. But it just shows there are a bunch of weirdos out there, mentally ill, zombie nation freaks that are out there setting these blazes.
Yeah. All over the place. Like, look at this map. Here's the map of the fires. I saw some people referring to it as a ring of fire around Los Angeles. Now, I have to say though, I am really, really, really concerned right now about the weather and the winds picking back up. It does not sound good, and I'm a little bit worried that something else is going to catch fire, or another neighborhood is going to go completely because of these fires still smoldering. And they're saying that, what was the containment number that you said for the
It was in the
Palisades fire?
teens, low teens,
In the teens, in the
in
teens.
Palisades.
So, yeah, and I think we mentioned this before, but you know, we went out to California to cover the park fire. Now, the park fire was started by arson, by a man who pushed his car down into a ravine, and it started the fire, and that's what launched that 400,000 acre fire. Now, when we went out there and we were going through the areas that had been burned, and we showed some footage of that the other day, it was days. I don't know how many days it was after the fire swept through that we came in. But if y'all remember that footage we showed, and I could pull it up again, but that was days later. It was many days later. And we saw smoldering embers
Like
everywhere. We saw it everywhere. Even so, there was that one clip that we showed where Jonathan was interviewing a homeowner who had lost everything. In that area, you would see these huge, gigantic piles of ash and debris, and they would just be smoldering, like, yeah, just like this. You could see smoke coming out of them. So even though the fires were technically out, they were still smoldering. And so that's what you have right now in these areas. There will still be things that are smoldering, smoke coming up. So as soon as that wind picks up, and they're saying again, it's going to be like up to 100-mile-an-hour gust again. They have red flag warnings. They have the highest warning level that the National Weather Service could possibly have. So I'm really, really concerned about that. And I hope that they're spending time today, still today, laying down more of the retardant and different things, maybe wetting things down. I'm really worried about it.
Well, they're calling it a critical fire warning too, or critical fire weather.
Yeah.
Red flag warning. Interesting, they name it under red flag. Red flag warning. But it goes now, it expands, not just this area, but it goes as far down to San Diego, all the way up to Santa Maria.
Mm-hmm.
Just east of Lompoc, along the coast, like all those wooded canyon hills area. But there's tons of homes. And all it takes is all it takes is these winds, and then these weirdos, like we've been showing. Let's put up the arson woman. Mandich. We'll just put her as an example. We'll make an example out of her right here. And Mandich is the Gloria Mandich, who has court coming up. It just takes a weirdo out there, even if it's not deliberate. It takes a weirdo out there that is camping, or a homeless person in this red flag warning high wind event, to just recklessly start a fire, as far as, I want to camp or whatever, and just it goes out of control.
Mm-hmm.
And spreads. And this could be the new norm for California moving forward anytime there is a high wind event. I mean, because the demographics of California that I've seen has changed significantly. There's a lot of people that are homeless in California. It's at its all-time high. There's people that do live out in the woods, in these hills. Transient people, campers. It's all over the streets in LA, all the way going down towards San Diego, all in those communities. It's all out there, Magnolia. And
Yeah.
all it takes is one idiot that can disrupt everything. And when you get these winds that are 60, 70 miles an hour, and I've seen the clips that first night, a lot of people criticizing fire department for not being out there the first night, but I don't think it was even possible to put a chopper in the sky or those super scoopers or anything in the sky to battle those blazes that first night when they had those 70-mile-an-hour winds. It's too dangerous.
No, but you know what? I heard some information yesterday, more information on that topic. So that night we were covering it. We started covering it in the afternoon on Tuesday when it was around 300 acres. And then we were on for many hours into the night. And so at the time we were seeing the winds raging and things were happening. And no planes were going up. There were no drops, right? We were all commenting on that. Well, it turns out that airspace, at least some of the airspace around LA, was actually closed that night. You know why? Because of Joe Biden's visit. Because remember, Joe Biden happened to go to California at the same time that this broke out because he was going to meet his new grandchild. His new grandchild was about to be born. And so he came to California on Tuesday. It was on Tuesday, right when all of this was happening. And so some firefighters have said that the airspace itself was closed. So that could actually be one of the reasons that they didn't go up in the sky that night, not just the wind. The wind was a factor for sure, but at the time when it was first kicking off, remember, the wind was below, it was like at or below 50-mile-an-hour gusts. It wasn't until later into the night, going into the early morning hours, that they were having those 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So it sounds like there's a combination of issues here. The airspace being closed because Joe Biden just so happened to come to LA at that exact time. Now, another thing that has been revealed, the mayor, Bass, remember at the time, she was in Ghana. And people are pointing out, this has come out now, she actually made a campaign promise when she was campaigning for mayor, and she literally said that she would never travel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry for
never
laughing,
travel international while she was mayor.
This is just too much. It's like
as a campaign promise. Hey, put Bass's photo up on the right so people can see Bass. We're gonna put Bass out there because Bass is in the spotlight. She's trying her best. I'll give her credit. I'll give Bass credit. Since she's been back, she is seriously trying to do damage control. She's tweeting out like a birdie, like every other hour, like showing, hey, I'm a leader here and I'm going to these command centers. I mean, but she's getting absolutely destroyed, both on X, all over the place, YouTube. You know, people are calling her out. Some people are defending her leadership, but man, she's getting raked through the coals right now, and honestly, justifiably so.
Yeah. So while she was campaigning for mayor, she literally said, not only would I, of course, live here, but I also would not travel internationally. The only places I would go would be DC, Sacramento, San Francisco, New York, in relation to LA. But
there you go.
She was in Ghana when the wildfires broke out in her city. So this is just one more thing. It's like the hits keep coming. It just keeps piling up. So this obviously is adding more pressure on her to resign. I don't know if she'll resign or not. I have a hard time imagining her actually resigning, but
do you see her getting removed by some sort of order or arrest? Do you see her getting arrested out of this?
I think down the line there could be there would need to be investigations that would lead to stuff like that. But I think in the short term, in the next 6 months, she'll be gone. You know, a lot of people are calling for the resignation, but we were talking about this the other day. If she were to resign, she would be replaced by someone just as bad as she is. When she was in Ghana, the city council president was the acting mayor. So when the mayor of Los Angeles is out of the country or somewhere else, the acting mayor is the city council president, and his name is Marquise. What was his name? His whole name, Marquise. I actually, when I first started looking into him, I thought, let me see, Marquise City Council. So he's the one who would actually become the mayor should she resign. Marquise Harris Dawson, City Council president. Now he's also being criticized because as the acting mayor, he did not call a state of emergency either. He didn't, it doesn't seem like he did anything during the night when those fires were really, really ramping up. So he's getting a lot of criticism. And, you know, the other thing about him, remember we talked about Karen Bass yesterday about her brigadista days with Cuba and Fidel Castro and all that stuff. Well, she has her own nonprofit as well in California, and she actually hired Marquise Harris Dawson to be a community organizer, a youth community organizer in her nonprofit. So the guy who would replace her is essentially her. It's just a man and not a woman. That's pretty much the only difference between the two of them. So I don't think they'd be in any better position if she resigned. I think the move here, for if people want to really get rid of her, the move here would be to recall. For a recall in Los Angeles, city of Los Angeles, if you want to recall the mayor, you have to collect at least 15% of all registered voters in Los Angeles County. And that number, there's about 1.8 million registered voters in Los Angeles County. So they would need around 270,000 signatures, which to me is not that much. You only need 15% of voters to get the ball rolling on a recall. I think that's doable. I don't see why that would be a difficult thing, because they've already done the change.org petition to get her to resign. And I think it's up over 100,000 just on that petition. I haven't checked it today, but last we looked, wasn't it?
I'll look right now. It's at 120,272 signatures.
So they would only need like twice that in order to get the recall ball rolling. Now, a lot of people want Caruso. What's his name? Rick Caruso.
That ran against her in 2022.
So he ran against her and lost. And so a lot of people want him to be the mayor. So maybe he'll run again. I don't know what'll happen with that. But I think if the people in Los Angeles, the voters, if they want to get rid of her, I think the best move would be the recall. That seems like it would be the best bet to get the result they want.
She said yesterday's press conference, she still has not spoken to the president-elect. There is serious bad blood between her and the incoming Trump administration. There is major bad blood. Case in point, I was going to do this, but I didn't. You just check out her old tweets when she was a congresswoman before she was mayor. I mean, she would go at Trump, saying some very interesting things, just to say the least. There's some serious bad blood between her and Trump. So I don't see how that relationship could even stand here. I mean, maybe in the
No.
interest of Californians, they put their differences to the side, and she extends an olive branch, is welcoming, inviting. Apparently, yesterday she said that Trump can come.
Yeah, I get the impression that Donald Trump doesn't want anything to do with her. That's
Yeah,
sort of
I agree.
because I've been I haven't seen all of his posts about this fire situation, but the ones I have seen really look like they're mainly targeting Gavin Newsom. It seems like he's really, talking quite a bit. He has a lot to say about Gavin Newsom, but I haven't really heard him say too much about Karen Bass, and that gives me the impression that he just doesn't want anything to do with her. He thinks she's irrelevant, and he possibly may be planning to investigate her or something along those lines. Maybe the DOJ is already his new DOJ, Pam Bondi. We have the FBI. They may be planning to launch investigations or something like that. But I just think it's interesting that Trump is sort of quiet on Karen Bass when there's plenty of material to work with. I mean, he could talk about her all day, every day, and never run out of things to say. But he seems to really be focused on Gavin Newsom in particular.
It's put Newsom up there because Newsom is also on a tweeting spree, talking, but at the same time, Newsom is firing back at the Trump administration too. So this will be interesting moving forward to see if they work together on this issue here. JD Vance was just calling out Newsom. It's just a big mess. It's a big mess, and Newsom, he signed an executive order yesterday to remove red tape. Claiming that homeowners and people affected by these wildfires can build quickly. We'll see what happens. Apparently, he's back out in the field. He's posting a bunch of tweets saying that he's been viewing the devastation in the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire. So this will be interesting. Now, let me ask you something. Could they try to recall Newsom again?
Yeah, I think that's probably coming too. But now they did try to recall him before, and it didn't. I think they came pretty close. Wasn't his main opponent Caitlyn Jenner?
I want to say Jenner or Larry Elder.
And Larry Elder, yeah. So yeah, I mean, they tried it before. It didn't happen. So I don't know. Maybe they'll try to do it again. But one thing, he's saying some things right now that are getting people pretty mad. He's saying things like he's talking about like rebuilding, and this is going to be Los Angeles 2.0, and we're already talking to developers, and we're already negotiating and doing, and that's the stuff he's saying right now. And people are like, what? The fires are still burning. Like, what are you talking about? There's still an extreme risk here. That's the other thing I noticed. Over the last day or so, we've been hearing that these winds are going to pick up again today and tomorrow. The National Weather Service put out an extreme alert about this, red flag warnings. But I really haven't seen him talk about it. I haven't seen Karen Bass talk about it. I haven't heard any type of plans, how they intend to prevent fires from spreading when the new winds come. Have you?
Nope. I'm just looking briefly to see this press conference is about to start. We're going to play this press conference when it comes available. No, I haven't, Magnolia.
Right, and we've heard them talking about the hydrants and the reservoir, and he said he's going to investigate who could possibly be responsible for this. But I haven't heard any solutions. It seems as though they're acknowledging that there's no water in the reservoir or the hydrants, and that that's a problem. They're acknowledging that there is a problem, and they're looking for someone to blame for that problem. But I haven't heard any solutions to that. Are they going to put water in it? Or do they intend to fill it with water so that they can fight the new fires that inevitably will come? That's what we're not hearing. We're not hearing solutions. We're just hearing them talk about either blaming people, looking for some scapegoat. They are talking about what they're actively doing to fight the fires, the percentage of containment. They're talking about all those things, yet I'm not hearing anyone say, here's what we're doing to prepare for the extreme warning alerts that the National Weather Service just put out.
Yeah, I'm looking at the screen right now, Flight Radar 24. It doesn't seem like there's much activity in the sky. There is a chopper above Beverly Hills, between Beverly Hills and Universal Hollywood Studios. But it looks like it's all quiet right now. These winds are going to start kicking up today. Another thing I noticed too, Zelensky in Ukraine is offering firefighter assistance, which I found interesting. He's saying that he'll send some firefighters from Ukraine to help.
Wow.
They've already outsourced other fire departments
for a
to help.
low price of $500 million. I'll send you some of our firefighters. And Joe Biden's like, here you go.
Yeah,
for this super low price.
It's crazy, Magnolia. All right, so here we'll put this up so we can get prepared for the press conference. It's about to get underway. We'll listen to the new updates, keep people informed. Yesterday there was some sort of like community activism where they were taking Q&As from people. We were going to cover that, but
like a town hall.
Yeah, like a town hall.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. Like you're hearing that a lot of citizens are outraged, but I think it went pretty calm and smoothly.
That was in Altadena.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dealing with the Eaton fire.
Yeah,
we'll just throw Fox up now and we'll listen because this press conference is about to get underway. Good morning, everyone. New week, too. New week. There was also an earthquake in Japan.
With you as we continue to follow this, it does look like this is going to continue to be a concern for the next several days as the winds continue to pick up. And they're saying that the wind gusts could be between 45 and 70 miles an hour. Very low humidity, which, of course, is another concern because they haven't had any sort of rain to provide any sort of relief. We are anticipating this briefing to get underway. We do see the LA County Board of Supervisors Chair Catherine Barger right there at the podium. She's talking to everyone behind her. And directly behind her, we do see the County Sheriff Robert Luna, as he has previously addressed a lot of concerns, including looters and, the potential for arson. Now, the cause of these fires remain under investigation. But arson continues to be one of the possibilities, as well as utilities. And this is a live look here at the Altadena area where you can see some of that destruction. We are talking about tens of thousands of homes destroyed. It does appear as though this press conference just got underway. Let's listen in.
The Eaton fire is now estimated to be 14,117 acres with 33% containment. We gained no acreage yesterday, which is a very good thing. We know that over 7,000 structures are damaged or destroyed, and we have 3,408 firefighting personnel assigned to the incident. 26% of our damage inspections for dwellings have been completed. Impacted residents may visit recovery.lacounty.gov to view preliminary maps showing damage assessments. Please note that the preliminary maps have been posted and are being updated daily. If there is not a color icon on your address, it means the building has not yet been inspected. Severe fire weather conditions will continue through Wednesday. Please be assured that all fire departments and all law enforcement agencies in the area will be prepared. The anticipated winds combined with low humidities and low fuel moistures will keep the fire threat in all of Los Angeles County critical. I ask all Los Angeles County residents in wildfire-prone areas to understand that the necessary public safety power shutoffs are important for our collective safety in preventing the next wildfire natural disaster. I did want to dispel one rumor. The LA County Fire Department has never turned down any offers for mutual aid assistance and resources. Repopulation will not occur until all areas are safe. Additionally, our CL-415 Super Scooper that was damaged because of a drone incursion is reportedly going to be flying tomorrow morning. It has been repaired and we're waiting for the FAA to give us approval to fly again. Thank you to Board Chair Supervisor Catherine Barger and Supervisor Lindsay Horvath for your unwavering leadership and continued support throughout this unprecedented disaster. And finally, to all the Los Angeles County residents affected by this catastrophe, please be assured your firefighters continue to work towards full containment of these wildfires from the air and on the ground. We stand alongside each of you as you begin the repopulation of evacuated areas when safe and the rebuilding of your homes, your communities, and your lives. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Kristen Crowley, Los Angeles City Fire Department Fire Chief. I'll just start off with just a moment to share with everybody out there that's been impacted by these wildland fires that the entire LAFD family, sworn civilian, our city family, Mayor Bass, city leadership, everybody, our thoughts and hearts and prayers go out to you as we continue to push forward and mitigate this emergency. We understand the impacts and we're working and will continue to work very, very, very hard for everyone. Another point I want to make is that also we are so very grateful for the firefighters and the first responders that have already arrived and continue to arrive in the Southern California region. We absolutely know that we cannot do this on our own, and we are tremendously appreciative of all of your continued support. As the increasing wind event is upon us as we speak, the Los Angeles City Fire Department has maximized our resource capabilities and response capabilities. All available LAFD resources have been staffed. I have strategically pre-positioned engine strike teams and task forces which are dedicated to rapid response for any new fire that breaks out in the city. In addition, I've directed the Fire Prevention Bureau to augment wildfire patrols in high hazard areas. The Palisades fire, your LAFD remains committed to this fire, and we have a significant number of engines that have been dedicated to this fire. The crews that are involved, we have crews from up and down the state, outside of the state, have made excellent work overnight, mopping up flare-ups and hotspots. Their primary focus last night was on the Mandeville Canyon area, And this fire is now at 23,713 acres with 14% containment, with 5,123 personnel assigned to the Palisades incident. Firefighters will continue to work diligently throughout the day to increase containment and prevent further fire spread. Again, I want to focus my comments on the amount of resources that are here in the Palisades, from the first responders all the way up to our incident command teams. Again, we're going to keep working really, really hard for you. Just a brief comment on the Hearst fire. It's been held to 799 acres with 95% containment. Again, thank you to the community members that are out there for remaining vigilant. We're not in the clear. I want to make sure of that. We are not in the clear as of yet, and we must not let our guard down, as we have right now extreme fire behavior, and we need to make sure that the community is staying updated with the most information, updated information as well. Follow all evacuation warnings and orders without delay. And please, please stay safe. I would now like to introduce our next speaker, and that is Sheriff Luna. Thank you.
Robert Luna, Sheriff of Los Angeles County. Regarding our deployment, we still have well over 1,000 of our Los Angeles County deputies out there working on 12-hour shifts. We have 172 California Highway Patrol officers. I'd like to thank the commissioner who was with me yesterday, Sean DeRee, for all of his assistance. I also want to thank Major General Beavers. I was with him as well, and he has fortunately been able to increase the amount of National Guard assistance that he is giving us to up to 600. And he told me yesterday, if we need more, we can ask for more. And we are strategically looking at that, analyzing it, and will ask as needed. Evacuations, we have approximately, and this is some good news because it's dropped, we have over 92,000 people who are under evacuation orders, and approximately 89,000 people who are under evacuation warnings. I want our community to know this, and Chief Maroney did talk about this for a second. In every conversation we're having about evacuations, warnings, whether they're going to implement them or take them away, the conversation about repopulation is on all of our minds. I know that we are attending, staff's attending community meetings, whether they be out in the Palisades fire area in Malibu for us at LA County Sheriffs, in the Altadena area. We are hearing our community loud and clear, and we want to get you in there as soon as possible. But I want to reiterate what is holding us up. This is very important. We are still, for the Altadena area, we are in the third day of grid searching. It is a very grim task. And we, unfortunately, every day we're doing this, we're running across the remains of individual community members. That is not easy work, very sad to report. And I believe that work is not only going to continue, but I believe will continue to find remains. So please be patient with us. People are saying, I just want to go look at my house and I want to see what's left. We know that, but we have people literally looking for the remains of your neighbors. Please be patient with us. There's a lot of hazards in the area still. The area has not been rendered safe. Please be patient with us. And then we have the potential of crime scenes. And I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying we have to think ahead because we can't go back from that. So please be patient with us. The curfew is still in effect, 6 p.m. To 6 a.m. for specifically the mandatory evacuation areas in both the Palisades impacted area and the Eaton fire impacted areas. Those are subject to change depending on need, one way or another. We understand, again, that people want to go back, but it is dangerous to do so, and we will not put anybody's safety at risk. I want to talk about arrest for the LA County Sheriff's area. Overnight, we had several other arrests. It brings it up to a total of 34 in our geographic area. We have 30 in the Eaton fire area, and we have 4 in the Palisades area. Last night specifically, again, for LA County Sheriff's jurisdiction, we arrested 4. 2 were for curfew violations. 2 were arrested for 1 drone incident. To my knowledge, we have now had 2 specific drone incidents that have resulted in 3 arrests. So as I talk to our community again, if you do not have business in the evacuation areas, do not go there. Please, you're infringing upon the work that our first responders need to attend to. And I do want to say, when I talk about these arrests, I want to clarify not all of them are for burglary or looting or for curfew violations. But it is very important when I say stay out, we are arresting people who are not supposed to be there, who do not live there, who are in possession of narcotics. We've arrested several with guns. And yeah, I'm going to tell you something. If our deputies being very proactive in these areas, stopping people in a constitutional manner as always, making sure that they're supposed to be there, and you have narcotics on you and you have a gun on you, in police work, we call that a clue. Something's wrong there. So that's why we're arresting people. Our search and rescue missions, through the 2 days, we have searched 1,874 properties. In regards to deaths, and again, I want to clarify, this is for the Los Angeles County area of responsibility. We have confirmed 21 deaths, 16 in the Eaton fire area, and 5 in the Palisades area. And sadly, yes, unfortunately, I anticipate the number to go up. Missing persons, we are actively have 23 active missing persons reported, 17 in the Eaton fire area, 6 in the Malibu area. All of them are adults. Thank God there's no juveniles. But if you believe you have somebody who's missing, make sure you report that to us as soon as possible. For any updated information that anybody may have, questions, very important questions regarding evacuation orders or warnings or any road closures, please go to lacounty.gov/emergency for assistance. The American Red Cross is doing an amazing job. Please contact them. And again, for some of the negative things I talk about, there are some amazing stories of community members coming forward to donate items. It's very inspiring. For donations, go to Emergency Network Los Angeles. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Assistant Chief Dominic Choi from the Los Angeles Police Department.
Okay, good morning. I want to start by just assuring everybody that our primary focus still remains the safety and well-being of our residents. These fires have caused significant disruptions, but we are working tirelessly with our partners to protect lives, property, and secure critical infrastructure. So as of this morning, LAPD has in the city 266 officers deployed to the Palisades fire. We also have support from our National Guard partners who have deployed 200 soldiers assigned to the incident. We're very grateful for their support. We also have dedicated resource investigating our missing persons reported. So at this time, as of this morning, 6 a.m., we have a total of 26 people reported missing in the city of Los Angeles. 17 of those individuals have been located safely. 9 of the 9 remaining, 2 most likely were found in the fires deceased, but they haven't been positively identified by a coroner's office yet. So those are still waiting to be identified. 1 individual, we believe, is located safely in a shelter, but that person, we're waiting for confirmation on that. There are 6 that remain unaccounted for, and we're diligently trying to identify and locate these people. So in total, in the city of Los Angeles, since Tuesday when these fires occurred, we have 3 fatalities. Again, 2 were found in the fires, and 1 was a burn victim that was transported earlier this week to a hospital. That person later passed away. If you want to make a missing persons report, you can do so either in person or over the phone. You can call any one of our 21 geographic stations and make that report, or you can call our missing persons investigation unit directly. I'm going to give you the number. It's 213-996-1800 and select option 3. That telephone is manned 24 hours a day currently. As of this morning, the city of Los Angeles related to the fires has a total of 14 arrests, 3 for curfew, 1 for impersonating a firefighter, 1 for possession of burglary tools, 4 for burglary, 1 for DUI, 1 for felony vandalism, and 3 for shoplifting. As the sheriff just mentioned, it's not just for looting or burglary that you're going to jail or curfew. If you're in the area, you don't belong in the area, you will be stopped and questioned, and whatever crime is being committed, you will be held accountable for that. So please stay away from these evacuation areas. Regarding escorts, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but we tried to be compassionate and put together a team to escort residents to their homes to either retrieve small pets or their medication. But that line became exceedingly large, and it was causing more problems than solutions. We have halted this escort service for the safety of everyone involved. Currently, we don't have any timeline of when we're going to open up that service, if at all. So please be patient with us. We know you are waiting. If you are still waiting at any of these checkpoints to be let in or escorted, please do not wait there. You will not be let in or allowed to have an escort at this time. Also, another important reason for stopping these escorts is because we have search operations beginning. Over the next 48 hours, we'll be working alongside LAFD Search and Rescue, our ATF partners, as well as the LA County Coroner's Office throughout the burn areas, giving priority to those people that are reported missing in these burn areas. From there, grid search will take place that could result in crime scene preservation and then recovery of remains. We hope that the high volume of resources dedicated to this effort will expedite the process. And as many of you know, the dry conditions and winds increasing, it's possible that evacuation orders may increase. I know overnight we saw some of the evacuation orders turn into warnings, but we can absolutely see some of these areas increase to mandatory evacuations again. So we urge you, please heed these orders. It can save your life. And as we also previously mentioned, identifying the cause of these fires is critically important to all of us. In conjunction with our partners and led by ATF, we have created a Los Angeles Regional Wildlife Investigative Task Force. And while their work is still in the early stages, we're committed to identifying the cause and origin of these fires. And we're also committed to holding anyone who's responsible for these fires accountable. And to further protect the residents of Los Angeles, in the city, our curfew is also still in effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. In short, if you don't belong there, don't be there. In closing, I want to reiterate that our department and all of us standing here this morning are with you. I want to express my deepest gratitude to the firefighters, our fellow law enforcement partners, and volunteers who are putting themselves in harm's way to protect our communities and help people recover. Their bravery and dedication are truly inspirational. We are also grateful for the patience and cooperation of our residents during this difficult time. We know this is not easy. Thank you and be safe. At this time, I'd like to introduce Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman.
Thank you. With firefighters literally putting their lives on the line to save lives and to save homes, with law enforcement working around the clock to keep security at a high level, with over 200,000 people evacuated, and I'm one of them, and with people who have lost lives, lost homes, lost businesses, there are still people in our community who, rather than saying thank you, look at this as an opportunity to commit crime and to take illegal profit and advantage over the situation. We've seen this come up, and you've heard law enforcement describe the arrests that have been made, whether those arrests are for looting, burglary, grand theft, whether those arrests are for arson, whether those arrests will eventually be for price gouging, because we have been seeing price gouging with hotels, people offering residents as well above the 10% addition that they can charge. We've seen that with medical supplies, other types of supplies, price gouging going on. So the criminals have decided that this is an opportunity, and I'm here to tell you that this is not an opportunity. You will be arrested, you will be prosecuted, and you will be punished to the full extent of the law. At 2 p.m. today, we'll be holding a press conference to announce the first charges in a looting case and the first charges in an arson case. This is not an arson case tied to the major fires. It was an arson case that was done on the side, in essence. You will hear that these people who've committed these crimes are facing very significant sentences. I am working with over 750 deputy district attorneys and in the entire law enforcement community to bring these people who are despicable and disgraceful to justice. And we're not only going to see what's happening right now in connection with bringing stability to our community, whether it's, again, going after the looters, the arsonists, or the price gougers, but we're starting to see the criminals emerge who are going to go after the recovery efforts. These are people who are contacting people and pretending to be GoFundMe operations to help people who have suffered. And GoFundMe, by the way, actually is an excellent organization that has put in place protections that if you use their site, you can use it safely. But these are people who are creating fake GoFundMe sites. I tell people to be very, very cautious when you give your money away, to check out the organizations that you're doing it to. I applaud anyone who wants to donate to these causes, whether with money or services, but make sure that they are going to the right operations. Again, you can go to Emergency Network LA, that's enla.gov, or you can go to recovery.lacounty.gov to see the types of operations that you can have confidence in. And we're also going to see scams coming up with insurance proceeds. We're going to see scams coming up with government benefits, because we are going to literally have billions of dollars come into Los Angeles County over the next months and years. And for the criminals who view this as an opportunity, let me again give you this warning, an absolutely unmistakably clear warning, that if you go ahead and you want to rip off people and the system and governments that are trying to help the people who have suffered from these tragedies, you will be arrested, you will be prosecuted, and we will seek maximum punishment against you. I hope that we'll have the opportunity to tell you at a later point that this warning has been heeded, that deterrence works. Because if we are going to actually have the stability and the rebuild, it's going to be based on everyone contributing. But for those who don't want to heed this message, the warning has been cast out there, and the warning will actually have teeth behind it. I'd now like to introduce Los Angeles Board of Supervisors Chair, Catherine Barger.
Thank you. As I discussed yesterday, FEMA relief is essential to getting our impacted residents back on their feet. Today and yesterday, FEMA staff have been at 7 county libraries, plus the Alhambra Library, providing support to individuals who are seeking FEMA relief. Tomorrow, these services will transition to centralized assistance centers, one at Pasadena City College and the other at UCLA Research Park. These centers will be in-person venues where all impacted individuals can receive direct support for FEMA's assistance program, which helps residents access lodging, essential items, and other large financial needs. You can visit recovery.lacounty.gov for all the details. And I would encourage everyone listening to go to one of these sites, because I was at Pasadena Convention Center. I know Supervisor Salish, you were as well. And I saw people handing out cards. I don't know who they are. I don't know who they represent, but people are looking for an opportunity. At these recovery centers, you will have legitimate government officials who are going to work with you to make sure you receive the benefits you deserve. I want to thank FEMA for their continued support for our impacted residents. Our residents need this support to begin rebuilding, and believe me, after last night's meeting that I attended with my constituents, they are desperate. So many residents I've heard from, especially those without insurance, are concerned they won't receive enough assistance to rebuild their lives. On top of FEMA assistance, I'm going to be advocating for innovative loan and housing solutions to bring people back to their communities. People need help, and they need to know what kind of support they're going to receive. Last night, I joined hundreds of impacted victims in Pasadena to hear their stories, understand their needs, and to discuss what comes next. Many wildfire survivors I've met, spoke with, have repeatedly told me they're worried about the rebuilding process. Specifically, many have mentioned that they are eager to begin clearing debris and seeing what valuable possessions survived this devastating fire. I want you to know that yesterday, the governor issued an executive order to streamline this rebuilding process. This executive order is going to make rebuilding homes easier by cutting red tape and make it as affordable and efficient as possible for our residents to clear debris. Yesterday's executive order, along with the previous order to waive the CEQA requirement in rebuilding, are two unprecedented actions that will be essential to making our community whole again. I know that our wildfire survivors want nothing more than to begin the rebuilding process, and it is our job in government to get out of the way. Our neighbors deserve nothing less. To all the residents in our county, we must maintain diligence over the next few days as winds increase again. Please listen to law enforcement and their evacuation notices. And believe me, I heard last night, many are frustrated. These next few days are crucial in our fighting of the existing fires and also preventing any new fires. Thank you for taking it seriously. I'd now like to introduce LA City Mayor Karen Bass.
Thank you, Supervisor. Angelenos, as we continue to experience the shock, the grief, and the anger, we have to stand together, and it is in that spirit that we have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of Angelenos traveling all around the region to deliver supplies, clothes, whatever they think might help the victims of these fires. As we've mentioned, the National Weather Service is predicting close to hurricane force level winds, and so we're making urgent preparations. My top priority and the priority of everyone else is to do everything we can to protect lives. As these winds approach, LA City firefighters and firefighters from across the county, state, and nation, and even overseas, are in a proactive and strategic posture to save lives. Firefighting resources from LAFD and fire departments from all over are positioned in strategic holding locations. DWP is deploying water tankers to augment water supply for firefighters. The emergency operations centers remain activated at the highest level to rapidly coordinate emergency response. As we prepare for more wind, we're also urgently working to provide people with much needed resources. This week, as Chair Barger said, our city and county will launch in-person local assistance centers that are tailored to those affected by specific fires. These local assistance centers is for Angelenos impacted by the Palisades and Hearst fires, and they will open at the UCLA Research Park, which was formerly known as the West Side Pavilion. It will operate from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. These centers will help people who have lost vital records like birth certificates, driver's license, social security documentation. They will help people who've lost their homes or businesses apply for disaster relief loans, and they will provide referrals for mental health counseling and other services. We anticipate that there will be representation for over 20 city departments. There will be representatives from the state and federal departments and agencies. Later today, we are also going to be releasing policies on the city level that will help with the rebuilding process. So as we continue to go through these next few days where the fires are still a serious threat, we also want to begin to help people put their lives back together and to prepare to rebuild our city. I also want to again remind Angelenos that lacity.gov is now a one-stop shop for assistance for those who are impacted and a place to help Angelenos find a way to get involved. As the winds pick up, please stay safe. Please heed the call to evacuate should you receive that. And remember to heed all public safety guidance. Thank you.
I'm Lindsay Horvath, Supervisor for the 3rd District of Los Angeles County. The latest Palisades fire updates, as you've heard, more than 23,000 acres have been impacted by this fire, and it is 14% contained. We have over 5,100 personnel, including 44 helicopters and 540 engines. The fire continues to hold along Mandeville Canyon, and we are grateful for our first responders and all those on the front lines fighting in this area. We know it is critical, and you are doing a great job. We've also made significant progress in Topanga Oaks, Sylvia Park, Temescal Ridge, to Mulholland. All of these areas have been under threat, and we are continuing to hold. Santa Monica has lifted their evacuation orders and downgraded to warnings in North San Vicente, moving from order to warning at 8 a.m. today. All of the warning areas have been lifted. A particularly dangerous situation has been issued. Strongest winds from Tuesday morning until Wednesday. We strongly encourage caution and vigilance. This is the weather prediction that the National Weather Service had going into last week's event. So these conditions are significant, they are serious, and we need you to follow all orders. All Santa Monica Malibu United School District schools will remain closed today. All Santa Monica campuses, except for Roosevelt Elementary, will be open. All LAUSD schools will be open today except Canyon Charter Elementary, Kenter Canyon Charter Elementary, Palisades Charter Elementary, Marquez Charter Elementary, Topanga Charter Elementary, Lanai Road Elementary, and Paul Revere Middle School. Our Department of Mental Health has resources for how to speak with our young people about wildfires at dmh.lacounty.gov. We need to support our children in this time and make sure they're able to talk about this tragedy. Our DMH helpline is 800-854-7771. Metro fares continue to be suspended for as long as conditions remain the same. We thank our chair of the Metro Board, Janice Hahn, and our CEO, Stephanie Wiggins, for their assistance. Palisades Post Office has been relocated to Rancho Park Post Office. Residents can pick up their mail at 11270 Exposition Boulevard on the first floor. Recovery.lacounty.gov has launched. You can find initial damage assessments as well as maps to indicate your property location and status, comprehensive list of county resources by department, federal, state, local, and nonprofit emergency assistance. Once again, that website is recovery.lacounty.gov. Our Department of Economic Opportunities East LA Entrepreneur Center and America's Job Centers of California open today as well to support impacted workers as well as small businesses. As far as public health updates, the air quality smoke advisory continues through next week. Please wear N95 masks outdoors. Fine particulates are airborne even in areas not impacted by the fires, especially children and older adults, especially those with serious health complications, are particularly at risk. LA County Department of Public Health is providing N95 masks at all evacuation shelters and to community-based organizations. When you are at home, please close your windows and doors, Run the air conditioning or air purifiers if you have them, and check your filters regularly. In your car, close the windows and vents, turn your air conditioning on to recirculate. Do not in any way use leaf blowers or other actions that will push ash into the air. Follow all drinking water advisories. And due to ocean contamination, avoid the following beaches: Malibu Point at Surfrider Beach, Solstice Creek at Dan Blocker County Beach, and Inner Cabrillo Beach in San Pedro. To stay informed about the latest emergency orders, you can go to emergency.lacounty.gov. And I want to once again thank all of those who are on the front lines, keeping us safe through this very difficult time. All of our volunteers who have kicked into action to ensure that our community members are supported. And I also want to thank our governor for an additional executive order in addition to the one that he issued yesterday to expedite debris removal and to reduce the risk of mudslides. As we know, rain is predicted starting next week, and these complicated conditions may only worsen. We thank him for his foresight and his partnership.
Helen Chavez, Communications Director for Chair Catherine Barger. Chair Barger recognizes and thanks the following elected representatives for joining us this morning and for their ongoing support during this emergency. We have with us 1st District Supervisor Hilda Solis, California Board of Equalization Antonio Vasquez, Santa Monica Mayor Ana Nagrete, and State Senator Sasha Renee Perez. We are now going to transition to the Q&A portion of our press conference. Please raise your hand and wait to be called upon. When you are called upon, please announce your name and the media outlet that you are with. We're going to go start right here.
Fox 11 News. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Gigi Gracia, Fox 11 News. I have a question about the fire, but I'm going to start with this question. Maybe I'll have a second chance. Assistant Chief Choi, to most families, if not all families who have pets, they are like family to them. Tomorrow will be 7 days that those pets that are inside the houses that survived may be without water and most likely without food, which would put that in an extremely critical condition that could lead to death if it hasn't already. Is there nothing that can be done for those folks that are telling us they are desperate, they just want to go in, get their pet, and go right out? They don't want to look at the house, they want to get their animals out. The fire broke out at 10:30 Tuesday morning. Many folks were at work already and have not been able to get back.
Yes, I can tell you my comments were specific to escorting that resident or those residents back to their house to do such things. There are other options that we can do. For example, officers that are patrolling the area can get a list of locations at the checkpoint. Officers can patrol these areas and go check themselves. I'm not saying that's exactly going to happen, but there are options where we don't have to leave a pet in there if we're made aware of that. So you can go to the checkpoints and talk to officers, but I urge you not to go there just to wait to go in to see your house, which is largely what a lot of these individuals are doing. They're waiting to be escorted to see their property, which we can't do. We still aren't doing medication and pets. However, we can come up with a way where if somebody knows a pet is in the residence, that we'll do everything we can in our authority to go in there and get that pet.
And then Gigi, on that note, Pasadena Humane Society is actually going into the Altadena area that's under evacuation orders and feeding pets. So there is, we will link up and see if we can duplicate that.
Go first to the woman right there in the middle, right there. Yep, and then we'll go.
Oh, you've got to hold on to great. Sorry. Hello, Jane Secker, Sky News. A couple of questions. One to Fire Chief Maroney. More bad winds on the way. We know the conditions, as we've just heard, are going to be the same as last week. How confident are you that you're better prepared this time? And also a question for Mayor Bass, if I might. Our correspondent David Blevins asked you last week if you owe the people of Los Angeles an apology for cutting the fire budget. You didn't respond to him then. Would you like to respond to us now?
So for the fire question, thank you. We're absolutely better prepared for this coming PDS, the severe fire weather event. You've heard the statistics, number of personnel assigned to the incidents, over 5,000 firefighters assigned to the Palisades fire, over 3,000 firefighters assigned to the Eaton fire. The state, under the leadership of Governor Newsom, has set up a mobilization center in Banning where we have resources staged that can come into LA County to assist with a new fire start or the expansion of one of our existing fires. We also have numerous aircraft, local government aircraft, helicopters, we have water bombers, we have retardant fixed wing aircraft from the state and federal government, we have military aircraft. So we've not only augmented the ground resources, but also the air resources. I think that we're very well prepared for the next event, but that's never going to be, we're never sure that we're going to be able to catch the next fire and keep it small. They said 70-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be very difficult to contain that fire. That's why we ask all residents in a brush-prone area to be prepared to evacuate if you get the evacuation order and start those preparations before the evacuation warning comes. Thank you.
There was a two-part question to that, correct?
My focus is on us being prepared as a city for tomorrow. As you began, we could face another very difficult situation for thousands of Angelenos. When we are past this period, there will be an evaluation of everything that went on. And at that point in time, we will see there is not agreement as to whether or not the budget was cut. All of those issues will be resolved when we are clear that Angelenos are safe and we are ready to rebuild our city. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go right here in the middle. Next.
Jonathan Bigliotti, CBS News for Mayor Bass, please. Last week, many people were working and could not get back in time to properly evacuate. As we've discussed in this room, there were pet care issues, healthcare issues, childcare issues. Now ahead of this latest event, you have businesses that are proactively closing, essentially treating this event like it was a hurricane or a blizzard. If they are taking those steps, why are you not implementing broader closures right now to keep your constituents safe?
We are doing everything we can to keep Angelenos safe. If there is a need for closures, that will be done. But right now, we are in preparation for tomorrow. Thank you. Absolutely it is, which is why you see everybody here standing united, prepared, and ready to address what Angelenos say. Thank you.
But now this is important because this is the fourth time we've had these dire warnings. Each previous time there has been.
She walked away.
So this is a critical time to make those decisions. In hurricanes and blizzards, like I've discussed, people stay at home. Businesses are closed. People can then prepare to evacuate. So there aren't pets left in their homes. There aren't children with daycare providers. They're scrambling. They scrambled last week. There are pets. So the question is, what are you doing to make sure that that doesn't happen today?
I've answered your question.
Okay, we're moving on over here in the back right there.
Hi, Morgan Windsor for ABC News. I have two questions, one for fire officials regarding the status of the investigation on the Eaton fire, and then a second for perhaps the district attorney on price gouging. The first question, I'm wondering if officials are honing in on the transmission towers owned by Edison in the area of the Eaton fire as a possible source of ignition.
Yeah, thank you for your question. I'm going to turn that over to the LA County Sheriff. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The sheriff might have an update for you. If it is arson and not the transmission tower, then that would be a crime. I'd like the sheriff to speak to that.
Simple answer to that is yes, we're looking at everything. We have a team that is obviously focused on the response as we prepare for any event, and then the investigation, not only into the recovery of the remains and the issues surrounding that, but anything that would have caused any of the fires anywhere in our jurisdiction. I think the chief or the assistant chief from LA talked about a task force. We're on that as well. We're working together, and we expect to find answers.
Okay, I saw a hand right here in the blue jacket.
Hi, good morning. Lauren Coronado with NBC4 News. This is for Chief Crowley. You mentioned wildfire patrols in high-risk areas. Can you identify those high-risk areas?
Sure. So, and that's that lean forward posture as we're looking to do everything in our power to ensure we maximize our efforts with the resources that we have, which this whole utilizing fire inspectors. So that controlling, taking a proactive approach.
This is a technical thing on their end. I don't know what's going on here.
However, they were able to reestablish that shot. So once again, let's listen in.
That we have. So the answer very specifically is anywhere it's in the wildland area, that's where we're going to be putting a patrol on. Thank you.
Ooh, we got a glitch. Something going on.
Air resources this time around, military. With the high winds, I know a big issue was that they're able to be utilized because of the high winds. Talking military equipment, change things, can you do those aerial attacks with these kind of aircraft?
It's not going to change it. So we still have cutoff speeds. Tankers, bombers, and the helicopters that we have, like County Fire helicopters, they're after the Black Hawk, and still do have tankers, water bombers, and helicopters. The helicopters that we have at LA County Fire are military helicopters. They're patterned after the Black Hawk. And still we do have wind cutoff speeds, not only for the safety of the helicopter, but what happens as the wind speeds increase, the effectiveness of the water drops or retardant drops is affected. And the minute that aerial firefighting resources are no longer efficient or effective or safe, we have to ground them. That's the unfortunate truth, but we do have a lot of people on the ground that can still fight the fire. You saw our firefighters, 100-mile-an-hour winds, Eaton Canyon and Altadena that kept fighting the fire even in those strong winds. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go over here and then we'll go over here.
Thank you. This is Dave Zonizer at the Los Angeles Times. I was wondering if you could go sort of fire by fire and tell you where you are on determining the origin. Are you guys looking at whether or not New Year's Eve fireworks might have been a trigger for the Palisades fire with something then flaring up later? I know you mentioned the Eaton Canyon fire, but can you tell us, for example, is arson being viewed definitely as the cause of the Sunset fire? Could somebody just walk us through each of them?
We talked about these. Yeah, I mean, I could talk about, so right now we have the task force that is robust, that is, they're identifying cause and origin for each of these separate fires. There's so many of them. None have been ruled out of arson. They're ongoing investigations, but also the Palisades fire specifically, since that's the one that's still rampant in the city of Los Angeles, there's been no definitive determination that it is arson at this point, but we're looking at every angle.
Anything more specific?
It's an ongoing investigation. If I could, I would. I don't have the answer for you.
Understood. Thank you. And we're going to go right here.
Hi, this is Kate Cagle from Spectrum News 1. I have two questions. One for Fire Chief Maroney. Is there a definite threshold for wind speed when those aerial drops have to stop? Like, is 70 miles an hour that threshold? And then my other question is, given how dense some of these neighborhoods are where we've seen orders and warnings, I mean, all the way to Wilshire in Santa Monica last week, we've seen gridlock when people are trying to all get out at once. Have you guys worked on addressing that issue if people do have to evacuate tonight from an extremely dense area like we saw with the Sunset Fire? Folks just couldn't get out because traffic was jammed. How do you address that?
Yeah, so to answer the first part of your question, there is a specific threshold. And I don't remember what that threshold is, although I used to work at air operations. 30 to 40 miles an hour is beginning, I believe, to be that threshold. I'll see if our CAL FIRE partner from the state of California remembers what that threshold is for helicopters and fixed wing air tankers.
Please say your name and your...
Good morning, Jeremy Gagne,
with CAL FIRE representing incident management team. So with the specific aircraft, they all have a different limitation. The problem is when you have sustained winds, over 40 miles an hour is the issue. The problem is the gusts. So the gusts peak and the aircraft limitations or capabilities are then limited based on approach and departures, as well as Chief mentioned, the drop accuracy. So each aircraft will have that limitation based on the manufacturer's recommendation. And then as far as the safety component, usually the limiting factor is gusts over 30 miles an hour. But the sustained winds, anything over 40, is pretty much going to ground most aircraft. So again, each one of those aircraft have those specific limitations. But as an overall general rule, safety rule, the gusts is what is the issue, and this is what the gusts that we've been having.
Thank you. Can you restate, please, your name and spelling?
Yes, Jerry Magana, Gerry. Last name is Magana, Magana, representing the CAL FIRE incident management teams. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have two last questions. There's a clarification over here.
I'd like to answer the second part of the question regarding community congestion and people leaving all at once under the evacuation order. We really want residents in LA County to be prepared. If you don't have a wildfire evacuation plan for your family and your home, please make one today. Visit www.fire.lacounty.gov/RSG. That stands for Ready, Set, Go. I would recommend, in an abundance of caution, if you get an alert on your telephone for an evacuation warning, leave then. Don't wait for the order, because we know from experience that if you wait for the order, you might get caught up in the congestion that you referenced. And please do not silence the emergency alerts on your telephone. If we send out an alert at 3 a.m. on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, when you're sleeping, we want you to wake up and evacuate. We know we had some issues earlier, but please do not turn off those wireless emergency alerts on your telephone.
Accurate? Right, my question was that those alert issues have been resolved and people can rely that that's accurate now?
Yes. I just think it's very important that Chief Maroney and I stand together and have the exact same message, which is the ready, set, go piece is ready, set, go. The community needs to also understand you don't have to wait for the order. Knowing what we know and what we saw, if you're in any of these particular areas, that lean forward posture, we keep talking about it. We saw the impacts, extreme impacts of the winds when what happened in Palisades. Our professional advice to anybody out there is to make sure you're ready, to make sure you have a plan. We talk about the pets, we talk about the medications, put your plan together, be ready, and you do not have to wait. You do not have to wait for the order. And I think it's really, really important that everybody hears what Chief Maroney and I are saying. And in fact, the rest of the region, the rest of the fire chiefs are saying the same thing. Thank you.
And Kevin, you were going to address the alert issues?
Kevin McGowan, Director with the LA County Office of Emergency Management. In partnership with the state, we have the wireless emergency alert system ready to go with a state partnership.
Thank you. And we are at time. We will have one-on-one interviews. If you have any unresolved or unanswered questions, please approach to the front and we will connect you to the appropriate speaker. Thank you for today.
All right.
Listening to that news briefing, the very latest.
We'll go back to the scene here. There's going to be a press conference, Magnolia, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, regarding an arson person arrested, and also a burglar or a looter. that will be interesting. It's in a new district attorney. Seems like possibly he means serious business. What do you think?
Yeah, that's interesting. They're planning to do it sounds like they're doing a press conference specifically to talk about the arrests that they've been making. So that'll be interesting. And that's a new DA, right?
Yeah, that's the new DA that came in. So I mean, is he talking the talk or walking the walk, or what? We'll see what happens out of that. Again, you know, it seems like their primary concern here is about these winds that are supposed to kick up tomorrow and go throughout the day tomorrow. That's where they're really, so they're saying residents there are not out of the woods yet. We'll continue to monitor that aspect, and we'll probably come back on later today for that press conference.
Yeah,
I don't know about the criminal element.
I put together something I wanted to show everyone. So we've been talking about the pink stuff, right? That's been dropped down trying to stop the fires, and Daily Mail had put together an article about that, just about how so much of LA is covered in this pink stuff now. That's the stuff we see them dropping.
Is that even healthy?
Fire retardant. But look at these pictures.
Look at this
ground. Look at
so,
this.
Can this harm people, pets, plants? Like, what is this stuff? What exactly is it?
It's called I was talking to my brother about it last night, actually, and it's there's a certain brand name for it. But remember when we were out in California and we met the firefighters, we asked them about, because we saw this stuff covering everything out there, and we asked what it was, and they told us that it was totally safe. Remember, they said, oh yeah, it's non-toxic, it's totally safe, it just washes away. It's called Phoscheck. That's the name of it. It's a wildfire retardant. So they dye it this pink color so that the pilots can see it, and they can, and the firefighters can see, and you know, it's bright for a reason. But we saw it out there when we went for the park fire. It was just everywhere. The trees were pink. It was so bizarre. But actually, according to AI, it does pose a health risk. It can cause irritation to skin, eyes, respiratory tract. It can cause gastrointestinal irritation, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea if swallowed. It contains heavy metals like chromium and cadmium, which can cause cancer and organ damages. It also can harm aquatic ecosystems and kill fish and other marine life. It can become toxic in waterways and cause algae blooms. So yeah, it's not the safest. It's certainly not the safest thing in the world. How about that? But now all of LA is covered in it. But it looks like the street is bleeding.
Ugh.
It's crazy.
How do you clean all that up? And how long is that going to stay out there for? Ugh. I'm thinking cancer stuff, like cancers. I wouldn't want that stuff all over my home. In neighborhoods, particularly if you're far away from the fire. I mean, look, it's all over that. It was all over that rose plants. Plants not going to die from that. We're not going to get sick.
I think that it does wash away with rain, but they don't really get a lot of rain in LA. So I think this stuff will probably be sticking around for a while, unless, you know, people are going to have to actually go out there and clean it. Yeah, Peter said, pick your poison, I guess. Right. So either everything burns.
There's definitely not rain in the forecast. The next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days is just sun. Highs in the mid 60s for the next few days, and then it'll dip into like under 60. It's not too hot out there. It's not too hot. It's dry.
No.
It's dry. It's extremely dry. Drought-like dry with the winds. But it's not like, one thing we noticed about the Park Fire was as it pushed north of Chico, down by Chico, it was like 100 degrees, Magnolia. It was hot in July.
Mm-hmm.
But once you got up into that mountain area, the temperature, dipped into the 40s? And
Yeah,
that could have been one of the reasons why that fire eventually died out. Because it just, it's hard. Do you think fires could burn like that when it's cooler?
Yeah, with the winds and the dry conditions, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so they Bass didn't want to take some of the hard questions. Notice she stepped down and away from the microphone. She's getting a lot of backlash.
Yeah, that one reporter, when they started to take the questions, I think the very first reporter was trying to call her out, and he was like, we talked about the budget cuts and different things like that, but are you going to apologize? He came right out of the gate and asked if she would apologize. No, she did not apologize. In fact, she did not even acknowledge that there were budget cuts. She said that's up for debate, whether there was.
Well, she's not going to make that for liability purposes.
This woman is not going to resign.
If she admits there was budget cuts, Magnolia, we're talking about citizens and residents and homeowners, particularly in Pacific Palisades. I think lawsuits are coming out the wazoo. Maybe class action, maybe single. I think lawsuits are coming against the insurance industry, the handling of this, the preparation, the mayor. I just feel like lawsuits are coming out, and I'm lots of lawsuits, lots of litigation.
Yeah, Michael said she sure did smile about it. Yeah, she was smiling. That's one of the criticisms that she keeps getting lately, because it seems like every time we see her, she's, she's taking photos with people. She's smiling. She looks happy. It's very creepy to see her come up to the stage like that and smiling, grinning from ear to ear. No one else up there is doing that. Everyone else is behaving seriously, at least. And then she gets up there smiling literally from ear to ear. It's bizarre. It's unsettling to see. And I'm glad at least the reporter tried to get something out of her. They tried a few times, and it didn't. She won't even admit or acknowledge that there were budget cuts that could have made this worse. She won't even acknowledge that. So
put her photo up on the right, if you don't mind, please. Thank you. We're putting Bass out there. We're putting Bass on blast. Bass on blast. Now, I do want to give an update about these winds, because it is now being reported by media that the winds in Southern California are picking back up this morning significantly. They're saying as of 9 a.m. this morning, Pacific time, it's afternoon right here on the East Coast. Oxnard, California Oxnard, California received a 47-mile-an-hour wind gust. Malibu Hills, 46 mile an hour. The Porter Ranch neighborhood of Los Angeles, 41 miles an hour. Camarillo, 43 miles an hour. So the winds gusts are now picking back up into the 40s.
Yeah. So one thing in the press conference that I will say, Karen Bass, when she first came up to do her speech, she did address the warnings that are happening right now, and she did lay out some things that they're doing as far as like preparing, mitigation factors, things like that. And she mentioned a few different agencies and partners that they're working with to prepare for these new winds. So at least she did address that, because I was worried we were going to have this whole press conference and no one was going to mention it, because no one else really did. I think one person touched on the fact that there are winds coming again. And Lindsay, the one with the cross necklace, she has mentioned that there are winds coming back, but overall, no one really talked too much about that. But it seemed like that was Karen's presentation. Her speech today was all about the warnings. So at least that's something. At least they're acknowledging that they're aware of the warnings. What's really interesting about these wildfires in California is they actually do have pretty good advanced warning systems in place. So you do know when these things might come, when it's dangerous and things like that. Now, the last time they got those warnings, she hopped on a flight and went to Ghana. So I guess at least it's something that she addressed at this time. It's crazy.
Which she vowed she would not do when she became mayor. She said she
Right.
wouldn't do international trips as mayor of Los Angeles, because when she was a congresswoman, she was part of this African delegation, and she would on behalf of the United States work with other congressional members, go over and go to these nations in Africa. And she seems like she's carried that along, continue as mayor of Los Angeles. Yeah, the winds are definitely picking back up that I'm seeing here. The high wind warnings, what do they call it? Red flag warning, Santa Ana winds, not necessarily in this area here, but this area is still going to be affected. Other areas, and that's a concern too. Wildfires might break out somewhere else.
Yeah. I have this clip that we put together of Justine Bateman. She's been speaking out. Sister, people probably know who she is. She played Mallory back in the day. Her brother is Jason Bateman. She's been speaking out quite a bit on Twitter, and they had her on, I think she went on with Jesse Waters. She's just talking about the leadership in general, and just the fact that it seems like they're not even able to do the basics. And she's a resident of California, and a lot of people who live there are pretty much all saying the same thing. So we'll see what she says.
And I think a lot of people in Los Angeles are pissed. If you are going to run a city or run a state, you have to take care of the basics. And that's make sure that your fire and your police department are well funded. Make sure that you have, not only you have plans if there are emergencies in your area, you have rehearsed them, but also you have plans to mitigate the problems that you know are going to happen in that area. And for us, it's fire, earthquake, rain, and consequent mudslides. And if you're not doing everything you can to take care of those problems if they arise, then get out. You are useless to us. All those other things, all the other programs like Head Start and all of that, that's great for the community, that's after. If you can't cover the basics, get out of our city. You are useless to us. You are a liability, and you have destroyed people's lives because you didn't do your job. You didn't do what you were hired for. You didn't do what we pay you for, and you should resign out of shame and responsibility for the people whose lives you've destroyed right now.
They won't resign at all. They don't have the dignity or the honor to do that. Why do you think that they don't do the basics? Do they just not do their job? Are they distracted with other things? Are they incompetent? What do you think it is?
I think when you're this incompetent, you don't understand you're incompetent.
Yeah, that's so good. It's true. Usually other people do things for you. You've gotten to this position, you fly to Africa, or you have your aviators on and you look good on camera, and you just can't execute, and you think this just always happens in California. Is this what people think? Fires happen, mudslides happen, it's always like this?
No, this isn't. Look, we had incredibly unusual winds. If you know that's coming, you make sure that you are prepared for what might occur. And they weren't. Yes, it was extraordinary circumstances. But here's what I really hope all voters do. Stop looking for the R and the D next to these names. Just stop it. You need to look at the person. Do you think this person can do the job? Because unfortunately in California, we have been looking at Ds and we have voted in people who are not competent to handle these things. We're going to have the Olympics in here?
Yeah.
How?
Oh my God.
How are we going to have the Olympics in Los Angeles? And you know what? If people want something to pray for, here's what you pray for. Pray that we don't have an earthquake in Los Angeles while these two people, Newsom and Bass, are in charge. Pray that we don't have an earthquake because they will not be able to handle that.
I mean, there's no evacuation plan. That is very clear. Is this fire and the inability to mitigate it or even put it out, is this going to change how people vote?
It might. I mean, like I said, look, if somebody's competent and they've shown their competence and they have a D next to their name, fine, vote for them. If they have an R next to their name, who cares? Like, vote for them. Vote for somebody you think can do this job. I mean, you checking whether or not there's an R and a D next to the name of the plumber you're going to hire or your housekeeper or somebody to fix your car? No. You're looking at their ratings. You're asking other people who have, had experience with them. Do they do a good job? Please do that with the politicians, please, or you see the results of it.
All right, well, we're counting down until the Olympics. It looks like that's 4 years away. Maybe it's not enough time. Maybe it is. Hopefully we can all get it together out there and put on a wonderful display of competition, because if we don't, that'll be a shame, because we deserve better. Justine, great to talk to you. I hope everybody
nice to see you
is getting all their things home safely and finding a place to sleep tonight.
Preach. She said, doesn't matter if you have a D on your name or Republican, man. Find the people that are competent to do the job. And it seems like nowadays people just vote because they have a letter next to their name without knowing anything about that individual and if they're qualified or not. People are literally coming out saying Bass is not qualified for this job. Maybe she was an okay congresswoman, but this is not her lane.
No, I mean, I think in her case, the only explanation of how she got elected is the D beside her name.
The D.
Because there's no other explanation. We talked yesterday about her background. It's basically as if you have Fidel Castro as the mayor of Los Angeles. It's absolutely absurd that people would vote for this woman. And this information about her days with the Veniceros Brigade or whatever, it's not a secret. It's not something that's unknown. It's well documented. It takes 2 seconds to look up that information. We talked about this yesterday. She was a brigadista. The whole purpose of the group she was involved in, that she was the leader of in Southern California, the whole purpose of that group was for them to recruit young people that they believed could later get elected into positions of power within the United States, collect information on public officials, and send it back to Cuba, to Cuban intelligence. That's who this woman is. That's just facts. So explain how somebody elects somebody with that type of background. I'll tell you how. They didn't do their research. They don't know anything about this woman. They just know she's a Democrat, and they marked vote. And they probably knew her name because she was a congresswoman before. A lot of times people get elected simply on the basis of name recognition. That is why Joe Biden was the nominee for 2020. because the whole entire rest of the field just didn't have the name recognition. He did. That's why he was the nominee. It's not because they were jumping up and down about Joe Biden. It's because when you go out in society and you poll people, which I did back in 2019, who do you think the Democrats should have as their nominee? 9 times out of 10, they all say Joe Biden. You ask somebody, do you think it should be Elizabeth Warren? Who? Not everybody knows that name. Not everybody knows these other names. So a big reason people get elected a lot of times, especially in local races and things like that, it's because people recognize the name. Sometimes it's even as trivial as you're driving down the work every day to go to work, and you see a yard sign for someone who's running for county judge. You show up on election day and you say, oh, I remember seeing that guy's sign in my neighborhood. I'll vote for him. Sometimes it really is as simple as that. It's crazy to say, but that's reality. And I think that's has to be what happened here.
Well, you know, I'm looking at the 2022 Los Angeles mayor election results. Karen Bass went against Rick Caruso, which is a white business owner, right? She didn't beat him in a landslide. It was 54-45. It's pretty close. But I think Bass's platform, you know, let's be real. I think there's identity-based politics involved with her being elected as the mayor of Los Angeles. The problem she faces now is this fire has affected. She doesn't have the federal government now to cover for her because there's a new incoming administration.
Mm-hmm.
2, the affected people here, mostly Hollywood, like rich Hollywood type of people have homes in here. And they're now starting to call her out because I don't see Hollywood, which, you know, financially backs the mayor, a mayor candidate. I don't see a lot of Hollywood people or people affected in this area supporting Bass. No. She has a major crisis herself, I feel. Mm-hmm. And I think she's a lame duck. I think she's gone. And I think not only is she gone, I don't even think they're going to wait around in the next election. I think she's getting recalled. I see it coming. She can't survive this. She could sit there and stand at these press conferences the last couple of days and everything like that. But I'm just seeing the outrage. I'm seeing her posts on Twitter. Yeah, she's posting. She's tweeting a lot, but she's getting absolutely ratioed every single post.
Mm-hmm.
She's not going to survive this. And if she doesn't, I mean, she could resign. That's a possibility. But if she continues to double down, I don't know. Maybe the incoming administration investigates her and she could be charged with something. I see that coming. She's not surviving this. She's gone.
Yeah, I agree. One way or another, she will be out of office, I think, this year. And
so we have another clip.
I agree with Ocean's daughter. I also don't think she'll resign. I can't see it just because so far she has not even acknowledged any type of shortcomings. She's never acknowledged any failures. She won't even.
I just want to say, as a congresswoman, before she was a mayor, she would tweet all day really vile stuff on Trump, like literally calling him a Nazi, KKK supporters. She literally was flaunting how she voted to impeach Trump, calling him unfit for office. I mean, I can't see how the Trump administration would even want to work with her. The damage has already been done with any type of working relationship between the parties, between the federal government and her.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah,
this is the
it
worst thing
doesn't
that could
seem
happen
like.
to her right before the change of administration. Now, if again,
Oh yeah.
I said politics wise, if Kamala got elected and Trump wasn't in there, she might be able to survive this. With the same administration aligns with her, but this is not. This is a disaster for her.
And Newsom too.
Newsom too.
Because Newsom, he has the full support of the Biden administration. There was a Zoom call that they did last week where he was like begging Joe Biden to help him with misinformation about the hydrants. And Joe Biden was laughing about it. Karen Bass was sitting there laughing about the hydrants. They're clearly, they don't take this seriously. I think they're used to doing whatever they want and getting away with it. I just think that time is over for both of them.
The crazy thing about it is, as Newsom is complaining that people are spreading misinformation, he's getting community noted on X for spreading misinformation himself. Newsom has been community noted on Twitter numerous times on his posts, which is just the irony. It's rich. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's two more things we want to talk about. What do you want to talk about? The cyber trucks that are coming in town, or do we want to talk about the ATF investigation handling the causes of these fires, most likely arson? Which one do you want to?
We have a quick clip of the cyber trucks. So apparently they've sent out a bunch of cyber trucks and Starlinks to this area to help, because the cell service, I guess, is very spotty still in these areas. So they have deployed. It says Tesla has donated multiple cyber trucks to be utilized as battery banks for Altadena Mountain Rescue at their station until power is restored. So they're going to use the cyber trucks for power. And then separately, they're bringing in Starlinks to help as well. Because we've heard repeatedly that there's problems with cell service out there still, even now. So the Starlinks are really going to help people quite a bit, I think.
Well, there you go. This is the second disaster that Cybertruck Musk gets involved with. We've been seeing what happened in the Carolinas and the distribution of Starlinks. They say has actually saved lives in that process because communications was wiped out during Hurricane Helene in the Carolinas. Starlink saves the day. We use Starlink. I'm not a fan of Starlink as far as mobile roaming on Starlink, but Starlink does work very well in areas that there's no cell service. If you are staying put, if you stay put exactly where you are and launch your Starlink, it actually works pretty good. And Musk at the time in the Carolinas with the Starlink made it free for everyone too in that area. If you're staying put, if you have actually a home, they were offering it free. So they'll probably do the same thing here, possibly too. But it's good to see that Starlink is going to get in there at least to get the communication aspect up there and for people to communicate, know what's going on, and broadcast or distribute that information out there to keep the public informed.
Yeah,
so we got that. Really and then also, what do we have? An investigation? I mean, we're just going to play a clip with just the investigation aspect, ATF, what's going on the investigation front on these arsons, possibly arsons. I'm thinking all of them are arsons at this point. That's the perception that I got. Even the Palisades fire. Let's share that information.
Yeah, they're still investigating the origin of the Palisade fire itself. So let's see what they're doing.
Still active fires that are burning within the Palisades area, making it extremely, extremely dangerous for the public. There's no power, There's no water, there's broken gas lines, and we have unstable structures. The first responders are working as quickly as possible to ensure that it is safe for you to return into your communities.
That was the LA County Fire Chief speaking out about the danger of these homes. You can't just go right back to that property that you own. It's just not safe in so many communities. Right now, the federal government working to figure out exactly what caused the most destructive of these fires, the Palisades fire. Now, the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives heading up all of this as an investigation continues. While the exact cause is not known, we do know that the fires were fueled by extreme dry conditions combined with the Santa Ana winds that have been the worst in some time, but are always very unpredictable, that sent embers into the air much faster than usual. News Nation's Jorge Ventura joining us live right now from San Antonio with more on what investigators are telling us. Jorge?
Well, Adrian, aside from asking what the city of Los Angeles could have done better to battle these ongoing wildfires, the biggest question still remains is what is the exact cause of multiple wildfires in Los Angeles County? Now, Los Angeles Police Chief Jim McDonald did announce that the ATF will serve as a lead agency in a newly formed Los Angeles Regional Wildfire Investigative Task Force. This will be a team of local, state, and federal agencies looking to investigate the cause of the fire, but also to determine if there's any connection between them. They have tremendous resources and expertise and can bring in resources from across the country to do their investigation, Chief McDonald added on the ATF. Now, the exact cause of each wildfire is still under investigation. According to officials, the fires were fueled by extreme drought conditions in LA County, combined with supersized Santa Ana winds that whipped up embers and flames up to 100 miles per hour. Officials say that after quickly ruling out lightning as the cause of fires, the next two common causes are either fires intentionally set or those sparked by utility lines. Now, Southern California Edison did file a report with the Public Utilities Commission on Friday. Edison says that they have not received any indications that their equipment was involved in the ignition of a fire. And according to Los Angeles Police Department, authorities did arrest a man with a blowtorch in the Woodland Hills area. Our Brian Ensign did report on that, but LAPD did give an update saying they did not have enough evidence to charge that man with arson. Adrian.
They've arrested several people now, and I think everyone, I speak for everyone down in Southern California, good. And hopefully they do get to the bottom of some of these cases if it is confirmed there was indeed arson in several communities. Thank you, Jorge. We appreciate you joining us live. Stay warm out there. Thanks so much.
Well, there you go.
Prepared, we will get through this, but it takes the unity and the spirit that I saw yesterday to make sure that Los Angeles comes out of this a much better city.
A message for hope and unity after Los Angeles slowly looks towards rebuilding and recovering. Joining me now, freelance reporter for NPR and CBC is Steve Futterman, a friend of mine. I used to work radio in LA alongside Steve Futterman. Great to have you on the program, Steve. So good to see you, that you are safe. I want to ask you first about your reaction to some of the press conference that we heard earlier today and the updates that we've seen. It looks like you're right in the thick of things in the Palisades, right?
Yeah, behind me, if you've seen those pictures of block after block from above destroyed, that's behind me right now. The thing that came, the disappointing thing for me was I expected the containment number for the Palisades fire possibly to go up. It's been sort of stuck at 11%. I thought it might rise. It didn't. Now, the containment number for the number 2 fire, as far as acreage burned, the Eaton fire, that did go up dramatically from 15 to 27%. So obviously they're making progress there. Now, here the big concern is, will the fire spread? There's that 72-hour period that sort of begins tonight. We'll go into Wednesday, where the winds are expected to increase. I should point out, no one expects the winds, even when they do increase, to be anywhere near what they were last Tuesday and Wednesday, when you had some of the most unbelievable Santa Ana winds as far as strength. So that's some encouraging sign. And everyone's always in place. I mean, everyone's ready. They have engines in vulnerable areas, so they'll be ready if there is a new flare-up or even a new fire started here. So that's encouraging. But obviously they are very concerned about the next 72 hours. When you've been through what you've been through the last week, sort of a gut check right now. How are you going to deal with it? So those are my big pulls from the news conference.
Steve, what are people saying that they need right now? We've been looking at the devastation, and it's just absolutely ash and rubble in so many areas. And again, we've been mentioning it's not all mansions. Not everybody here has a ton of money. So what do people say that they need right now, and where are people going?
Well, there are lots of evacuation centers set up. As we know, I mean, you've covered fires, I've covered fires for decades. Never one quite like this, except maybe the Paradise Fire. Most people have friends or relatives in the general vicinity who have not been affected. That's where people normally go initially. But a lot of people, there's been so many people displaced now, they are using those evacuation centers, and they are set up pretty much everywhere. Listen, no one's going to be completely satisfied for the most part. You want to be, you want your insurance company to respond to you. I want a new home immediately. I want to be placed in temporary housing immediately. It's very hard to do. Nothing is perfect. You're not the only one, and they have to deal with thousands. Obviously, lots of people would like to come back to see where their homes are. Well, that's been happening a bit, but as you heard during the news conference, they are suspending those escorted tours of certain areas because they have to deal with the wind incident. So there's always a complaint someone has. It's never perfect. There's always something wrong. And again, you're dealing with a disaster here that no one expected. So I think generally most people are just trying to grasp the situation. If you can act like an adult, and it's very hard to act like an adult here, you say to yourself, I am alive. Hopefully you have no deaths in your family, so your family is alive, and it's just material things. But we're human. We like our material things. Our material things have meant a lot to us. It's not just the value of it, it's the sentimental value of it. So there's a lot of heartbreak going on, and different people deal with it different ways, Laura. I've met some people who can deal with it just fine. They're going on. They look at the big picture, and other people are just devastated. It just they're broken up, and they're going to have a very, very tough road to deal with.
Right, a range of emotions, and we know that that's going to go on. So great to have you on the program, Steve, freelance reporter for NPR and CBC, Steve Futterman. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you, Steve.
All right, now the boots on the ground perspective. Failed management, failed leadership. What a mess. What a mess.
Yeah, so I noticed he mentioned the winds coming now today and tomorrow. He said he didn't think that it would be anywhere near as bad as it was last week. So
he's wrong on that assessment.
At least, but
nah, he's wrong on that assessment, Magnolia, because they're saying winds.
Oh, yeah. I heard him say that, and I was like, is that true? Is he right? I hope he's right.
So authorities say arson has not been ruled out as the cause of these fires. That's definitely something we're paying attention to. But overall, I think we gave most of the updates that are going on. I do not see any like fires brewing right now. I want to come back, though, most definitely for this press conference later on in the announcement of more arrests and who specifically. So we'll get some details on that. I want to know about who these people are. I want to know if this is an organized crime out there, what's going on with these fires, what was the start of these fires. So we'll definitely cover that. And in the meantime, you know, if there's any fires that break out or any breaking news on this, we will definitely be back on this topic. But it seems like it is pretty quiet out there right now. Obviously, there's a lot going on. But as far as like breaking news, some sort of crime scene or some sort of scene going on, I don't see much activity. There's a couple media outlets that are talking about this, but they play a lot of like repeat content, looping things and things like that. So we'll be back later on today for sure for that press conference.
Yeah. All
right, folks. Well, stay safe out there. You want to share any information about, you know, these fires or anything, or, you know, set the record straight or talk to us. We do protect anonymity. You can reach us. You can be on the record, off the record, however. tips@JLR Investigates. We love to hear your story. If you're from California, we'd like to know what's going on and, you know, what happened here. We're trying to figure out what happened here for sure.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how people begin the process of recovery here.
Yes.
But for now, they need to get the rest of the fires. The smoldering needs to come to an end, and hopefully these new winds don't kick up new fires, because I can't imagine this happening again.
Oh my God, what a disaster. I'm concerned about other communities though. So let's pray. Let's pray, folks. Let's have a prayer. If you don't pray, let's hope that, this situation starts to end quickly and they can worry about the rebuilding and all that and taking care of everyone, because you got to get these fires out. Got to get these fires out, and you got to get past these Santa Ana winds and high winds.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk soon. JLR Magnolia Investigates. Thanks for watching. Sub up to the channel. Hit that notification button. Thank you, members. Thank you, subs. JLR Army Strong. Continuous coverage of the California wildfires. We'll talk soon. Have a good day.